Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Harry Boxer from the Technical Trader. Our URL is thetechtrader.com. We're one of the first websites to have a trading room on the internet. That was back in 2001. So I've been doing this for 23 years and on the site, and been in Wall Street plus this over 50 years of trading. And I wrote a book called Profitable Day in Swing Trading, which is currently out of print. I'll be getting it back in shortly. It's a book on my philosophy of trading, which is basically using 1 minute intraday charts like you'll see in front of you. This is United Airlines. This morning, for example, United Airlines last night had earnings. They popped, they coiled, they popped. They had a rising flag. And I want to go back and show you this real quickly, because when this flag here appeared, right there, I told my people to go in. We went long at 44.25. That was even before the market opened, just before it opened. And by the end of the day, here's what resulted: a rising channel, which is a day trader dream. Never once violated support. At the end of the day, my target was, as you can see, I have a line there. I think it was 49 even, 48.75, something like that. Anyway, it reached 49.14, reached our target. And at the end of the day and after hours, it pulled back a little bit, but it had, despite the fact that they had a loss, they had something real good things to say. Even in a declining market, when the market was getting hammered, this thing was going up. So it's all about technical analysis and the technical strength. And I don't care what the market's doing. Every day we find runners like this. In the morning, we had a couple others that did that. So the bottom line is I do things technically. I had a tweet today about United Airlines that said that so-and-so from another site said that it's a sell because of poor fundamentals. And I go, oh, really? Well, take a look at what we did today with this stock. It doesn't matter about the fundamentals, particularly on day trading. On swing trading as well, we find some really phenomenal moves over a period of 3 to 5 weeks. So, folks, everybody who's here, I encourage you to post whatever symbols you want me to take a look at. I'll give you a detailed short-term and long-term look. Obviously, if you're looking at United Airlines, you also want to look at the daily, and you'll see that this has been a rising trend now for several months. Although we did a little bit of a dip there, it's right back up. It's the highest level in United Airlines since way back in September last year. So let's start the session with take a look at RCAT. This is Red Cat Holdings. I usually don't even talk about stocks under 2 in my room, but there's been so many low price stocks running of late. I want you. This comes from Wosing. Wosing, this stock it's here, there, and there. 4 times the stock reached the 150-60 range in the last couple of years. Came way down into the 50-cent range, broke out recently, and has gone vertical over the last 3 days. It's right at resistance here. So my take would be technically that if the stock broke out and started to run some more and had big volume, 2.5 is my target short term. You see, on a long-term basis, it's a stock that is one of those big declines. This one double topped at 6 and came down to 50 cents, but it subsequently has broken out. What you always want to look for technically is, what does the trend look like? You'll see this declining top line that lasted 7 or 8 months. And when it broke out here, that was the buy signal, just under $1, and it's subsequently up 50% in a short period of time. Folks, if you have any requests on anything else, just let me know. Be glad to give you my take. MNMD, this is the tech trader swing. Why? When it broke out of the base with a breakaway gap, well, first of all, it actually broke out of the base here. And then it had a breakaway gap and pulled back and formed a wedge, at which point I put a buy on it at around 790 or thereabout. And a month later, it reached 1222 and pulled back. You can see the rising channel that it's in. But if this thing breaks, and we do have a really difficult market right now, you want this to hold the 895 range, and I would probably stop under there. I know it's tight, but for me, a break under 895 drops it to 7.5, 3/4. It may be worse. RMC wants to know about General Electric. Well, obviously, it's a monster. Take a look at this chart. Pretty amazing. And this is a split stock. See all these lines up here? That means the stock was split, because the lines don't move when the stock moves. And I want you to see this. Pretty amazing stuff. Over the last year and a half, 2 years. It first of all double bottomed in the high 30s, broke out in the mid 60s, consolidated in the low to mid 90s, and ramped up. And since October, it's gone from 84 and nearly doubled to 158. Right now, it's at the top of the long range channel, but it does have a bull flag in here. What I would do on a stock like that is keep tracking it with a rising stop. Keep rising your stops, or not trailing stops. Here's what I want you to do. When you're involved in technical analysis, what you want to make sure is prior lows don't get taken out. In the case of a flag, which this is now, 2-week flag, what you want to do is have the flag support at 150.51 hold. You could put a stop under 150 for half your position, and I would stop the rest under 145. If it breaks that, you're headed to 134, maybe 119.20. Believe me if I tell you, if we get a bear phase or a really important bear market, any stock with a big gain like that is subject to big profit taking. So don't give up your gains. Too many people I know have watched the stock go up and watch it go down without any stops or targets. The extension target right now is 166.67. But the problem is, unless it accelerates, you can see that it's maybe thwarted by, or at least held in place by the rising channel, which is a good thing, because we'd like to see it stairs up higher and higher and higher. Ultimately, 175, 185. We have questions from Johnny on Palantir, which I like, but not now. Here's why. Palantir is in trouble. And the reason I say that is technically, and by the way, this was a tech trader swing. See the base here? It broke out, and we put a swing on it. It broke out. I put another swing on it. It reached target number 1. But since then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave decline. This is a 5-wave Elliott wave pullback. However, the problem is it broke support. This prior high and this low taken out today with an engulfing reversal bar tell me to move aside on Palantir temporarily. You can always go back, but why, Johnny, be in a stock that's headed south, particularly if the market is? This is vulnerable to not only to the gap at 19.5, but to fill that gap down to 18. That's my take on Palantir. You don't want to drop it. You don't want to stay in a stock from 21 to 18, do you? ACGL. This is Arch Capital. Another nice chart, but also, like many other stocks that have had intermediate moves, broken this rising trend line. When I look at charts, I look at prior highs for support. The support is right there at this low and at these highs. The stock today got hammered right down to the 50-day moving average at 88.95. My take is stop it under 88, and that's a tight stop. But it could be vulnerable. There's a lot of room to drop into the low 80s and even high 70s in the stock. If the market's going to turn south, this Palantir are both vulnerable. So careful there. And MHO. Oh, MHO. Yeah, any home building stock to me is something I would not be involved in. Not now. But look how much of a run this has had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up, the 37 to 137 for 100 points. And now you see this one too has broken support. We're seeing hundreds of stocks breaking support. It doesn't work well for the market, folks. Even though I'm not bearish, I might get there very quickly if this market does not rally very soon. I mean, the next day or two. And even if it does, if the rally is a weak one or it rallies to resistance and rolls over, that's a great opportunity to short and or lighten up on positions. Right now, I'd be worried if I were you with MHO. Support at 110. Beneath that is where I would place the stop right there. Because then you're vulnerable to the gap or below or even into the high 80s. MF McCrae wants to know about BX. Another situation here with a stock that consolidated, had a nice, what I would call a rising coil, or ascending coil, but it broke down. Now, it hasn't broken major technical support, which would be right there, should this break there. So if you're in it, stop under 114. 114 gets you down to 105, maybe even down to 100 or 90. You got to be really careful with these stocks. Any stock that's had a big move may be vulnerable. Is there anybody else in the room or anyone else listening that wants something else? You're welcome. Anybody have any other stock that you want me to take a look at? And by the way, in my room, we are day traders using 1 minute charts. We are swing traders using 5 and 15-minute charts over a period of 3 to 5 weeks. We're very successful with our technical trading, and I invite everybody to come to thetechtrader.com. That's THETECHTRADER, thetechtrader.com, and check out our site for free for 2 weeks, folks. 10-day free trial for free, no credit card. Okay. What pattern do I trust most? Well, Joe, I trust pop and coil, pop and flag, pop and wedge. In other words, I want a stock to make a pop with volume, especially early in the morning, and then settle into a consolidation pattern. Once it breaks that, we go. Okay. I'm going to go for DFS, Discover Financial. Well, okay, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is that it had a 1, 2, 3 wave move and started to break out, but it got to key overhead resistance from way back here in 21. The pullback broke support today, double support, meaning lateral price support, trend line support. The rally back, don't be fooled by that. It's good to have a tail like that. And it's generally positive. You need to get a follow through, and you need to get a follow through quickly through 123. You get that, your target's at 125.5, 130.32, 135, something like that. Be careful though. I would put a stop under today's low for sure, under 122. I'm sorry, 116, 115.8 3/4. What is money stream in my chart? This is a money stream and balance of power are similar to a lot of other indicators like ADX and relative strength indicators, but it's proprietary to Warden Brothers or TC2000. That's what I use. I like black charts with colored bars. They really stand out, and I've been using them since 1993. So you're not going to get me to change. SMCI is another one that I think had a big day yesterday. A huge day. It got to the declining top sign and went through it today. Head faked everybody and reversed. Now, here's the key to this stock, in my opinion. It's got to take out today's high of 1020. It's now 58 points below that. It's one of those wild and crazy stocks that can go 100 points up or down any day. You do not want this stock under that line. You see this? Take a look at this and run. Here's a stock that's gone from, let's call it mid-30s to 1,229. I can't even tell you what the percentage gain is. It's phenomenal. One of the biggest gainers I've ever seen. But SMCI has distinct support. 855.70 zone, and below that's Katie barred the door. The stock could get killed, even down to 700 or less. So I would be really careful with this. And there's big resistance here at 1057 and 1106. So we get through those zones, you're off to the races. But I wouldn't bet the farm on it, not until I see what the market does. AbbVie, one of the best biotech stocks out there, or companies, I should say, is in trouble. What I mean by in trouble, here's a stock that's had a fantastic rising channel, and the breakout came right there. This is when I told my group to buy the stock at about 160. Well, it only went up to 182 and then rolled over. I want to show you something. First, it came down to support and bounced, but what did it form? I want to show you this on an hourly chart. You can see it better. When a stock breaks down, it forms this is a bear coil because it's a descending coil and it comes off of a down move. This is another bear coil, but it's more of an ascending flag. Doesn't matter what you call it, it's bearish until it breaks out with volume. This stock has work to do, a lot of it, and it may go lower. Right now, I see this as a 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm looking for a fifth wave down. Where can that go? The next key support is 154.5. I would expect that to be tested if the market goes lower. If it gets really bad, it might go all the way down to 146.7. This is a good company, but not a good chart. Not now. Anybody else with a question on any stock? I'm not seeing any more symbol, David. So why don't I give you my take on what's going on in the market until somebody has a symbol? Some of my faves. Well, the problem is I'm a day trader for the most part. I come in every morning and I find favorites. On my swing trades, I can give you a list of those. But let's just go over what I'm seeing right now. Hang on a minute. I want to bring that up. Okay. My list of swing trades right now, and some of them look good, but in a bad market, they will quickly reverse. Currently, my swing trades are on the short side, a few of them. I want to show you a few of them. First of all, I put on ARM today because after a big explosive move in the coil, it broke down. It may very well get down to filling this gap down about 79.80, currently 107. Keep an eye on that. Autodesk I put out last week as a tech trader swing because a head and shoulder top broke. Okay, it was at 247 when I put it out. Today, below 207. That's 40 points in a week. A couple letters I like, short are CAR. Boy, Avis budget ran a car. Look at this massive top, breakdown, and rising bear wedge. To me, it looks like a stock headed for 80. It's 105 right now. LITE broke a head and shoulder top at 46. My target's at 39 and 35 or less. COHR just broke down, and it might see mid and low 40s. Carvana, if it breaks this major trend line, you see going back here, it could be toast, and it's right on it. And today was a negative reversal day. I'm now looking for high 50s. It's 69 right now. PVH, Phillips Van Heusen had a bad report. It came down. It's formed a bear flag. This looks bad. This bear flag tells me lower. My target, 92.88. BRZ broke a long-term uptrend from the bear flag. This looks lower to me too. Target 35 and 30. New York Times. What? Who reads the New York Times anyway? Rising channel broke down. This is a definitely descending bear flag or coil, and today an engulfing reversal bar in a bearish one. I think we're headed to 40 and 37. Qualis has a big bear coil and may be breaking it. Wait for a move underneath 156, and you may see 148, 135, 130. ANET just broke. I'm not quite sure about that yet. Sentinel 1 is a tech trader swing short that I put out recently at 23. It's 2061. I'm looking for 18.5 and 15. Fox Factory, after it broke and formed a rising bear wedge here, I gave you a swing short at 68. It's down to 41 already, and it looks like it might be mid-30s. Akamai, breakdown, rising wedge, short, 111 to 100, and it's just getting started. Target 88, 82. I can go on and on and on, folks, but there's a good 12 to 15 shorts. Look, if you want some longs, I can give you those too. But we have some questions here, so let's go back to the board. TSLA. Tesla is a disaster. Come on. Okay. First of all, Tesla was rolled over here, ran back up. I think the key was right there. When it broke down hard and formed the rising bear wedge, I told my people, this is, I'll be a short, and it may be for 50, 75 points. It went from 205 to today's low at 153. It's down already more than 50 points, and I'm looking for another 25 down. That's how bad it looks. I wouldn't try to pick a falling knife on this one. It doesn't look good. CHKP, and that's for Johnny. Well, overall, it's not that bad a chart. It's better than a lot I'm seeing now, but I would be careful. Look, I know we had a spike down here, but a beautiful tail brought it back up again, and a V bottom right hand extension brought it to a nominal new high. But the way I look at this chart now is right there. For me, this is on a key support area. And any move below 156 could drop it back down into 145, 138. I would be careful. Your resistance right now is 161.5 in that area right there. And so you need this to get quickly back above that, or it's going to get hammered. How and when do I teach my trading? What to do is you come into my site for free for 2 weeks and check out what I'm doing. There are videos on my site that talk about my techniques. If you go to them, Oscar, you can get some education. People tell me that 2 months in my site is like 2 years in a classroom because I'm a teaching guy. I like teaching patterns all day. VZ, and this is for Will Singh again. Well, Will Singh, you got to keep a stop under there. Take a look at this. This has been a long downtrend. Verizon's dropped from 62 to 30.5. Then it bounced back up to 43. That's the nice fib retracement. It was looking pretty good until it broke the channel, but then snapped back to double top. There's no way you want to hold this stock unless you have a stop under 39. I implore you. You've got a breakdown there. You might see mid-30s, maybe low 30s. Zscaler, ZS. This is on my Tech Trader Swing Short list. It's pretty ugly. A long rising channel, a technical breakdown, and since then, a falling channel. This is called a falling wedge or falling channel. When you're in the bear phase, that's as bad as you can get. In other words, it's not even bouncing back to resistance. It just keeps falling. Now that it's below this line, my objective would be down there at 155.6. I'm looking for more downside, particularly if this market gets hammered, which it could very well get. For RK DocuSign. Well, DocuSign got an interesting long-term base. It looks to me like a support zone there and resistance there. It's got a wedge, so it's a bullish pattern in effect. It's going to have to take out top above 65 to really get going, but this is much more bullish than most stocks I'm seeing these days. So I like the look, but I would put a stop under there. In other words, if it breaks this, it breaks three things: moving average, trend line, and lateral price support. Simply put, stop under 54.75, 55, and under that level. And DDOG is better than a lot as well, but we don't want to have this stock break down under there. So for me, I'm stopping this one under 118.19. I'll give it a lot of leeway. It breaks to the upside above 136.70. You can see the stock get into that 150 area. But for now, be very careful here. Is there anybody else who has that symbol they want me to take a look at? Okay. Hat B, MSTR and Oxy. Well, MSTR is already broken. I think Bitcoin is done. Put a fork in it. That's my take. I may be wrong, at least temporarily. There was a wedge forming, and it was a bull wedge. You can see that this little pullback, 1,035. Well, this one's already been broken. That line's been broken. It's closed under the 50 today. Very negative. But if you want to still hold it with a tight stop under 1,035, that's what I would do. It's very vulnerable to 800, 900, maybe even less. It's had a big run. Careful with that. Oxy, Warren Buffett's major stock, had a nasty reversal here with big volume, trading 14.7 million shares on a reversal day, and then taking out lateral price support right there. Quite frankly, the way this is looking, this is broken support. I would expect to see 63. And if it breaks that, that's where you got to stop it. Wheaton Precious Metals, the WPM, the silver stock, outstanding chart, one of my favorites, along with a couple others in the silver group. I want to show you this pattern. First of all, massive is a 3-year inverse head and shoulders type pattern. Key resistance, 52.5, recently topped with a pop to 54.30. Then pull back, and more importantly, making new highs. I'm looking for 56.5 to test this high, and then it's off to the races. 60, 65, 70, anything could happen on this stock, particularly if we get a spike up in silver. This one I like with a stop under 49. And the other is PAAS. Those are the two leading silver companies. Pan American Silver, just not as good, not as strong, but it has surged. Look at the last 4 days of heavy downside volume. I'm concerned about this company. Something's wrong there, especially when down here, it was lagging for a long time. Now it came up because the group did, but I don't want laggards. I want leaders. And for me, I'd rather be even in a low price stock, like an AG or something like that. It had a much bigger move. Even this one's pulled back. So I don't trust precious metals at all. That's my take. Anybody else with a question for me on anything? On the long side, tech traders are swinging CPNG. Look at this chart in this market. Does that look like it wants to go higher? Indeed, it does. Targets at 24 and 27. Now we got some more symbols. USO. Resistance is 83.75. The problem I have with this is it's broken the trend line, or has it? Let's see. Right on it. Any further damage? And I would move aside. This has had a good run. Oil had a good, really nice pullback today. It's gone from 66.85 to 83. The USO, which is the tracking ETF for oil. You can see the breakdown today and a loss of almost 3%. Secondary support, 76. It may test that. EME. I'd be worried about this if I were you. Look at this move. Again, what they're doing is they're selling stocks that have had big percentage moves. How about 96 to 370? And now a pullback. On a very short-term basis, looking at the hourly chart, you will see a little topping pattern here. At the very least, a rollover, little flat head and shoulders, or a rounding top, we'll call it. But you see the breakdown here? Just move aside. You can always re-enter at a later date, but there's no reason to take risks with stocks that have had big moves. Any further break here, and my target's going to be 315 or less. Microsoft has been a stalwart, but boy, I got to tell you, you can see the break under the 50 today. I haven't seen that in a while. Matter of fact, Microsoft has been above the 50 since back in September, October. So it's gone from 314 to 420, 431 almost. Coiled, but it broke today. Next target, it's vulnerable, in my opinion, to 398, 400 for a test of that area. RK, this is the color chart or TC 2000 and by Warden Brothers. The software to download is free. You just have to use their data stream, which is about $85 a month. Well worth it, especially on 1 minute intraday charts. When you're day trading stuff 1 minute, like we did today with UAL. Look at that chart. Coil, flag, pop, rising channel. Gorgeous. This is a day trader's dream. Okay, let's get back to where we were. Got some more questions. SU and VRT for Pat. Suncor Energy, some of the oil and gas stocks are doing well. And this one in particular, on the nice coil over the last 2 years. Check this out, long-term coil. And when they break out of long-term coils, that's usually very bullish. I like this stock. The only problem I have is it's a low beta stock. It's got a lot of resistance over the last 10 years up in the, let's call it 42.3 range. So above that, it could fly. I wouldn't bet the farm on it. Your support is down about 32 and 33, 34. VRT's been a monster all year. Look at this chart. Incredible. I got to tell you, though, it's one of those vulnerable stocks. This has been on my list since it broke out here. I want to see the base. Let's go back. I want to show you this. So coming out of this base with a gap, it popped, and that we told our traders about it. I don't think I put a swing on it, but look at that move. How about 17 to 80 some odd? Now, what do we do with it now? Stop under 77, period. It goes under 77, you'll see 74, and maybe even mid to high 60s. Be very careful. A lot of stocks with long moves are very vulnerable up here. Joe Charlton wants to know about Boeing and Amgen. Let's start with Boeing. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Again, if you want to pick a falling knife and cut your fingers, go ahead. It's very, 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 very negative chart. It just broke key support. If you're short, that's a good thing. You'll probably see maybe 140.45 and then maybe as low as 125.30. We'll see. It's a tough, tough call, but it just broke support. It doesn't look good. And then Amgen, love it, love the company. Don't like the chart. On a daily basis, this is what we're seeing. This is a nasty looking downtrend. And it could be just getting started. See this one hammered, big volume break with big volume and no bounce, and now this. The best I can say for it is that it may be a falling wedge and they could break out of it. But even then, you're going to have to show me you can get above 288. And for now, I'm not going to be shocked. If the stock makes a move down there, for starters, 253 and then 244. Bottom line is, you can see the technicals deteriorating too. Lots of stocks are breaking down. I don't trade with TC2000, although you can. I just chart with it. I trade through Charles Schwab's Street Smart Edge. Like that, I like the platform. What do I look for? What do you look for chart? Well, I look for stocks that are breaking through key resistance levels and or bouncing off major support levels and forming consolidations that are bullish in nature. I'm making sure that trend lines are holding and moving averages are rising. Underlying technicals are confirming the trend. That's what I look for. Chart on Apple. Yikes. It looked pretty good for a few days there, a couple of days. But folks, take a look where it went to. The top of the channel, lateral price resistance, and failed. I got to tell you, if it fails here, this whole market's going to go If NVIDIA and Apple are the two stocks I watch closely. I just think they're market leaders. Well, Apple may not be the leader it was, but people watch it. I think Apple's vulnerable to 159, and then we'll see where it goes. Does anybody else have a question on anything else? You got plenty of time? Okay, I'm going to be showing you a few more of my ideas that I like right now. A lot of these stocks are just recently given pullbacks. This NRIX was a great looking chart. It bought it there, and now it popped out and pulled back. So this is dangerous. Look at the volume coming in on the downside. I believe that's off my list right now. There's a couple low price stocks I like that are acting well. FNGR, take a look at this. Broke out of a base pullback, and today it popped out of a wedge in a lousy market. Keep an eye on that little puppy. EBER had a wonderful day and it made a new high today, but reversed. So look at the volume on that. I see that. I get a little bit more cautious. So even my longs are starting to, crater a little bit. I used to love this one, ML, and I still do, but look where it is, right on the trend line. It better hold, because if it doesn't, look at the long move it's had. It's gone from single digits to low 90s. And it's done it in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way move, although I'm not convinced this is done yet. Nevertheless, I will be if it breaks support. And right now, I'm out under 63.5. Very volatile stock. So, I mean, there's a lot of other stocks I like too, many of them. But right now, many of them are finding the going difficult. Not a good sign for the market. We have some more symbols, ROCK. That's a nasty looking head and shoulders stock. Building materials, no less. I'll take a look at that. Johnny, you can see left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Also, a major trend line is right there. Where this goes any further, it may be vulnerable to a deeper retrace into the mid 60s, even as low as 59.60. So again, I'm cautioning everybody in this room that we're in a very vulnerable time for the market. We could have a very ugly period ahead of us. Does anybody have a symbol they want me to take a look at as well? EXPE is a stock I put out as a short because I think, based on the overall structure, the breakdown and the long bear coil, which then broke down and now is rolling over, could see 121, even 110.12. FRM is a symbol that we have a question on. It's affirmed. Let me tell you that this was one of my favorite stocks here when it blew out and formed the flag and then went vertical. I like it a lot, but I like it as a company, but as a chart and a stock, there's trouble in River City, folks. It broke one major support level there. It wedged and came down and broke another one. It did bounce off the bottom of the channel, but in a lousy market, this is a $26 stock, and it might be a $22, $23 stock. When the trend line breaks and support breaks, you want to move aside. This has had a massive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way move, Elliott wave, and spiked up into a high. Now it's a different story and it doesn't look good. Quite frankly, RK, Pfizer is a nowhere stock. I don't get this stock. I don't get it. And same with Bristol Myers and some other major biotechs. They just don't like them. Wall Street, I mean, look at the long-term chart of this. Are you kidding me? 61 to 25. It's now on a massive support level that goes back 10 years. They break that, you can see high teens on the stock. That's how bad that looks. NHYKF for Pat. Foreign company. No, that's not right. Oh, sorry. NH. I don't find this in my symbol. Pat, what's the name of the company? NHYKF. Is that the right symbol? There it is. Sorry about that. Oh, yeah. I'm just putting it in wrong. This doesn't look bad, but you must have a stop. Stop under 510. I know it's a long way from here, but if it breaks, it could be back to, $3, 3.25. JP Morgan. Beautiful chart. Earnings season, they just came out with earnings or coming out with earnings. Yeah. I don't like to break at a channel on volume. Next target is a 160-63 range. If it breaks if it breaks 177, it's trouble. You might want to stop it there. Eli Lilly, another stock that's had a monster move. It's a great company, but all about that weight loss and diabetes drug. Winjaro and the other one. Look, you see that? This is called a bull flag, but too high up in a channel, too high up in a pattern, it's less reliable. It's only 50-50 that it breaks out. It could easily break down. I would take a stop on this one under 725. Stop. Target, if it goes, 900. We talked about Palantir earlier. I don't like it unless it holds right here. This is key support. The stop would be under 20, and then your target's down around 16. First, it will be 18.5 and then 16. If it goes, your key resistance is 27.5. Above that, you might see 33, 35, but for now, you can see how it closed underneath some key support right there. Probably test the gap. The gap is at 19.75, 20. So is the trend line. That would be key. You're welcome, and you're welcome. Is there anybody else that needs some assistance with any chart? Did you cover SQ and Roku? No, I didn't. Did you ask me a question about it? I didn't see it, but all right. SQ was a tech trader swing long here. It worked for a while. It got to target number 1 and faded. Right now, you see where that is? Two things have occurred. It broke the trend line, and then it did what we call a kiss back. It tagged the trend line, but could not get through the trend line and lateral price resistance at the prior high. Now the rollover. See today's low? 71.89. Quite frankly, I'm stopping it there. No more room for this stock. It's vulnerable down to, I would have to say, gap fill at 66 and then 62.3. Do you get a theme here? I'm not excited about a lot of stocks right now. And Roku, wow. That's just simply an ugly chart. Ugly. It got creamed here from 99 down into the 60s. It formed that bear flag, and it's breaking that bear flag. Doesn't get much worse than that. Where can it go? Well, look. It needs to test the October low at 55. You get below 55, well, there is another one just below that. Let's just say 55 and 53 zone is major support. And if Roku broke that, you might see the stock in the low 40s. Chewy. Wow, what a bad chart. Look at the long term of this. Doesn't get much worse. I got nothing good to say about this. It's a terrible chart with a long-term decline. It's taken the stock from 115 down to 15. It's lost 90% of its value. And it's at an all-time low or bouncing off the point where it was an all-time low recently. On a technical basis, if it should get a price volume surge above 1870 or so, maybe we can get it back in the low 20s. But for now, with these technicals and with this chart pattern, yikes. That's all I got to say. For Joe Charlton, Para. Joe, your name sounds familiar. Weren't you on my site at one time? All right, anyway, or maybe you are now. Sorry if I mistook that. 17 quadruple top, broke down, rallied back sharply. It's got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave decline. Man, is that an ugly chart. Yikes. And it's right at all-time lows. The only good part about Paramount is that it looks like they're going to be acquired. But if that's the case, why does the stock keep going down? All right, that looks bad. For Teresa Williams, Teresa, WDC, Western Digital, like any other tech stock, is extremely vulnerable here. I liked it a couple weeks ago when it was running. I don't dislike it here, but I will if it breaks here. My counsel to you is stop under 67.5 or 67. Next support below that, 64 and 60. The overall chart is still very bullish. If the market turns around, this could be a winner-winner chicken dinner, but for now, careful. And Micron, same with the whole group. Look, semiconductors are getting hammered. This is an engulfing reversal bar today. I would be long gone MU right here, only because, again, look at this run-up. Broke through a triple top, gapped, and ran. Now, here's the good part. When you make new all-time highs, and you haven't broken the channel yet, you have a shot at rebounding right here tomorrow. But the gut feel is you're going to get somewhere down in the 100 to 105 range. If you want, you can bear that, maybe, but for me, I don't take chances. We have a question here on Mara from Actran 321. And I'll get to you, RK, in a minute on BA. You know what? Let's cover that first. Bank of America, like many of the financials, did very well. And now on support. Any further damage and I think you're going to see 31 in this. So I would move aside if it gets any lower than where it is, BAC. So for Actran, Mara, and DJT. Oh boy. Well, DJT is a piece of work, just like that. Okay, 32 to 79 in a week, 79 to 22 in 2.5 weeks. Today, a nice snapback. Look at the intraday chart. We actually traded that in my room today. Because, why? Pop, pullback, pop, flat, wedge, and that's where it was. Went from 25, I had a target of 28. We hit 28, 29, and back up. Where do I think it goes from here? A tough call because the resistance now is 32. That's all I'll give it, 32. And Mara is a relatively weak Bitcoin-related stock. Everything's broken in this stock. I don't get it. Something's not right. But we know Bitcoin went to record highs. The stock immediately dropped from 34 to 14, 20 points in 6 weeks. And I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And I don't care what's going on with this stock. It isn't worth it to me. I need to see a turnaround with volume before I trust anything on the long side. Oracle and Dell for RK. So ORCL was looking good in the neighborhood until this happened. big gap up, and now it's filling the gap. Support, 118, it's there. Any further damage, the stock is vulnerable down to 111, 105, something like that. I would stop it right here, or a bit below here. That's Oracle. Dell is a swing trade for mine. When it broke out here, I put a swing back in September at 69. It made it to 136. It's got a flag. This is one of the stronger tech stocks. But you do not want to see this under 104.5, 5. That's where I stop it right there. The target is 135 and 150. USO, well, like I said, it's right on support, and I did look at it earlier. Any further damage, it's vulnerable to 76 and maybe even 73. Be careful. It's had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave LA wave move, and now it's rolling over. Oil, I think, looks like it could pull back. Be careful. And Pat, AU is my favorite gold stock, period. I like the company. I like the chart. Look at this chart. Big base, a pop and a breakout retest, and then it went. That's where I put the swing on it. Like at 21. I went up to 25, 50, and backed off. My only problem is gold itself. I'm not sure about it right now. Had a big run. So this has only had a 1, 2, 3, and this is 4. Theoretically, 28.30 would be my target, but on a short-term basis, I just don't want to see them drop it under 23. Okay, and it's pretty close. You're welcome, Teresa. Come join me. TheTechTrader.com. And Dances with Bears likes really, you like Warden, huh? I do too. 1993, and my preferred analyst for, and I've done lots of traveling seminars for them too. When I see gap, what about percentage of time it will fill in either direction? You know, there's too much attention paid to gaps. I think gaps are support. In other words, if it's not gaps and runs up, to pull back to that gap, top of that gap is support. In terms of filling it, stock could fill a gap 10 years later. It doesn't have to be filled. Everyone, that's a misnomer. Do I trade options? No, but people in my room do, based on my swing trades. Is anybody else with a question on anything? You still have a few minutes. David, are you able to see what I just posted, put in the room? Are you able to see my trading room right now, or no?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Can you see anything other than my charts right now? I'm trying
Oh,
to.
no, just
I'd
just
have
your
to.
2C2000.
Yeah, I would have to change my screens. Okay, no big deal. I just want to show everybody that we have a trading room, one of the best on the internet, with hundreds of traders in it every minute, posting ideas and questions. And so just come to thetechtrader.com, sign up for free, no credit card, and when you get in there, spend a couple of weeks with us. I think you'll be very pleased, and most people who sign up, especially if you're experienced with more than 2 to 5 years, you'll really like the activity and the intelligence in the room. Okay, more questions. The VXX. Well, after a long downtrend, you'll see it's moved up. I'd rather look at UVIX. To me, it's more tradable. But if you want to look at VXX, I'll give you my take. I think if the market caves here, if this gets to resistance, you see the triple top up here at 16 and a quarter, 30, that's your target. You get to that, then you're looking at 17 and a half, 18. If it spikes, it could be 19 or 20. It could be a lot more. That's my take on VIX, VXX. When will I have a webinar myself? I usually let other people put webinars on, and I'll be on. I'm going to be, by the way, in San Francisco, May 9th, for the Money Show. I do a lot of webinars for them. If you go to my site, you'll see all my activity. And again, I don't necessarily do my own webinars. I'd rather have David do it because he's really good at it and participate. KMI, let's take a look. Kinder Morgan, oil and gas, It's a nice base pattern, but look at the stock go nowhere for years. I hate stocks that do that. As far as I'm concerned, I would avoid the stock. UVUX? What the hell is that? Are you talking about UV? No, I said UVIX is what I meant. This is the double VIX futures. When the market goes, this rips. A couple of days ago, it went from 1012 to 1235 for 20% pop. The link is right there, folks, for my site. And folks, we only have a couple minutes, so if you have any questions, this is your last chance. Post it. We'll get to it. Be glad to help you. And if you can always sign up on my site at any time and get some free advice, you can literally send me a private message by clicking on my name in the room, and a little drop-down window appears that says private message, and send me a message. Everyone's accessible in the room. You can talk to each other. You can talk to me. Do I send alerts? Absolutely. Swing and day trade. Well, I don't send day trade alerts because if you're on the site, you don't need me to send them. But I do send swing trade alerts. I'm using TC2000 by Warden Brothers. It's brilliant stuff. As good as anything out there, if not better. But I'm using it for 30 years now. I am the tech trader. That's right. Harry Boxer, look me up. I've been doing this since I'm a kid, and I'm in my 70s. Yeah, believe it or not, I have the energy of a 30-year-old too. Is there anybody else that has a question before I go? Because we're running out of time. Does it have anchored VWAP? That's a great question. I have no idea. No idea. We hit the VWAP? No. Are you talking about? No, I don't think so. The VWAP that it has is on the intraday charts that I use here. Here's the VWAP, 502. I guess that's going to be it, folks. So thanks for being here. I appreciate everybody's attendance and your intelligent questions. And thanks for being a part of today's webinar.